USDJPY, the first time we will be taking this asset in the last 4 to 5 months. And I'm beginning to see quite some interesting situation which is going against all odds in this market. And I'm very excited to share them with you. Now, before we go into the technical details, you will see from an holistic point, the new week has started on a strong bullish note. The PI is trading above the 145.700 at this point in time. And of course, we do have potential buying opportunities despite the recent dip in the US dollar and of course your treasury bond yield. And today's market is anticipated to remain subdued due to the US bank holidays. I forgot to mention that earlier. Today is the US bank holidays, and we are likely going to be seeing a reduced trading activities due to the observation of this holiday. Now, it is essential at this juncture that we also consider the prospect of the Federal Reserve initiating interest rate cuts, which might limit the upside potential and pose a challenge for the US dollar. Meanwhile, the Bank of Japan is expected to maintain its ultra loose policy stance, which may affect the growth of the yen, and I think the US dollar might take advantage of this to push price to new highs despite the weakness of the dollar across its major peers. Now, currently, our focus remains on identifying buying opportunities. As you will see, the week has been on a strong momentum, and since last week Friday, we have been seeing some series of higher lows. Now, before going into the details on the 1 hour time frame, let's have a quick holistic perspective into what has been going on in this market in the last 1 year. Now, since January 2023, it is quite obvious that price action has been on a strong bullish momentum. In fact, I have a couple of ascending trend lines here after connecting the series of higher lows to further emphasize the strength of the buyers in this market. Now, you will see connecting this, we have the trend line here, which is one of the trend lines we are using for today. And of course, projecting this further, we have another one here, which is the major trend line. Now, in addition to this trend line, I want to show you what has been going on here in the last 1 year, 3 months. Our price tested the 152.00 level first time in the month of October of 2022, and we saw a year after, we saw price action come back into that area to form a double top structure to incite a bearish momentum back into that ascending trend line. And since the beginning of this year, price action has respected the ascending trend line to push price to the upside. Now, the question going into this new week is, will the respect of this ascending trend line become a new platform for new highs? Well, to answer that question, I have a key level that we will be using to guide our trading decisions for this week. In fact, I have a couple of key levels in this case, which is a one of a kind scenario, as I was caught in a dilemma as to which of these levels we shall be using for this week. And if you look at the structure closely, you will see that area around the 144.00 level and the 144.800 area had played a major role in determining the direction of price action in the last 7 months, I think, since the month of June last year. You will see how this level at some point in the month of June was serving as a strong selling niche before price finally broke out of the structure in the month of August of last year. And since then, price had continued to remain above this level for a while. I think between the month of August, September, October, November, and on the second week of December, we saw price break down the structure, traded below the structure for a while before testing that ascending trend line. And since the beginning of this year, we have been witnessing a bullish momentum in this market, leading to the breakout of that key zone one more time. And as it is right now, price remains above the key zone, and as long as to be looking out for patterns and structures that supports the idea of buying this asset. So our center of focus for this week is going to be around that key zone, where depending on how market participants react to that structure will determine if we will join that uptrend move or get ready to join a decline to the downside. Now, to have a better perspective into what is going on here, we scale down into the 4 hours time frame, and right here on the 4 hours time frame we have a simple setup. And what I did on the 4 hours time frame was to take into consideration the nature of price action in the last 4 to 5 weeks, and in fact it's clear that price action has been bullish. But before the bullish momentum, let me quickly share with you this bearish momentum after price tested a 152.00 area, giving us this descending trend line, which was finally broken at the beginning of this year to break out of that structure and incite that momentum to the upside. Now, with our ascending trend line intact, that is this ascending trend line here that led to the breakout of the descending trend line, I'm of the opinion that we'll continue to look out for buying opportunities as long as price remains above that structure. But there's one thing I would like to call our attention to, and that is the breakout of that descending trend line that happened at the beginning of this year. And from a technical standpoint, when price breaks out of a key structure such as this descending trend line we have here, we expect at some point price may come back to retest the trend line that was broken to incite another wave of bullish momentum. So if it so happens this week or in the nearest future that price breaks down this trend line, we could see a retracement back into the structure to incite an uptrend continuation. So I'm just calling our attention to this so we can keep it in mind while we continue to monitor price action. So right now, we still hope that price will continue to the upside. Our key level still remains intact at the 144.800. Price still remains above the ascending trend lines, and all all factors here are screaming towards a bullish opportunity. Now let's scale down into the 1 hour time frame so we can see how market participants reacted to that key level at the beginning of this week. Now on the 1 hour time frame, you'll see, look at the key level right there. Price has remained above the key level. Let me just bring this in a little bit so that we have something neater. Okay, and look at the ascending trend line, very much intact. And interesting enough, I was able to capitalize on a buy position this morning after seeing how price action remained confined within the 145.240 and the 144.870 for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours before the breakout of the resistance line happens. And you know how we do it in this community. Whenever we identify a range like this, we exercise patience and wait for price action to either break down the support line to give us an opportunity to sell, or the breakout of the resistance line of that range to give us an opportunity to buy. And for me personally, I had to position myself above the 145.240, triggering my first buy position, and then added another one at the breakout of the 145.550 level. And if you in any way had capitalized on this bullish momentum, that is so wonderful of you, for you to have used the knowledge you've acquired in this community to identify that structure. But for those of you who had missed out on this opportunity, it's okay. The week is still very, very early. There's no point beating your head over this, as we could still have some more opportunities to capitalize on for this week. And of course, one of the things we are going to be looking out here, since the breakout of the structures has happened, is the chance that price may still come back to retest the structure, which of course is in line with an ordinary technical expectation that when price breaks out of a structure, it may come back to retest the structure in anticipation of another wave of bullish momentum. Now, as it is right now, the question is which of the structure is going to be retested? Is it going to be the 145.550 that will be retested to incite an uptrend move, or we will see a breakdown of the structure to see price come back and retest the 145.240 to incite an uptrend move? Well, I know it may be a little bit complicated like this whenever this kind of scenario comes up, but we have ways through which we usually position ourselves to capitalize on buying opportunity. And one of the things we look out for when price comes back to retest structure is a reversal pattern that shows and gives us an idea that price is going to climb to the upside. And one of the things we will be looking at if price comes back to retest any of the structure, it's something like a reversal pattern, maybe a double bottom structure or a head and shoulder pattern around that area to give us an opportunity to buy. So once we can identify a reversal pattern, we mark out the neckline and then buy the breakout of the neckline. So it could be right here at the 144.550. If it so happens around that area, we mark out our neckline and then buy the breakout of the neckline. And in fact, if it comes to the 145.240 area, well, we also look out for the neckline of the reversal pattern here to join that uptrend move. So that is how we will be managing any bullish expectations at this particular point in time. And if price action continues to climb and find new highs, we have another level around, let me see, the 145.800, which we want to be using to maximize the potential of this bullish move. So if price goes on to break out of the 145.800, we will be adding more positions to our existing trade. And remember this level that we identified on the higher time frame at the 146.500, a breakout retest of that structure will as well welcome more opportunities in this market. So let's see how the market will play out. We have multiple levels here that will be guiding our trading decisions for today. So we maintain a bullish bias on this particular asset. However, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunities and considering the fundamental factors we did mention earlier, one of them which is the prospect of the Federal Reserve initiating interest rate cuts as early as the month of March, which has a tendency of limiting the upside potential and pose challenges to the US dollar. So we cannot ignore that fact. I still believe that the dollar on the USDJPY market is more or less taking advantage of the ultra loose policy stance of the Bank of Japan to ride this move to the upside. So I still see a limiting factor to the growth of the US dollar. Now, if it so happens that this factor affects the dollar, we could see selling momentum come in this market. And if I want to sell this particular asset, I would rather want to see price action take out the key level or the key zone area, which is around the 144.870 and the 144.800. And in fact, I would like to see some confirmations like a retest of structure before I join the decline to the downside. And remember, while we sell the breakdown of the structure, we want to take note of this ascending trend line we identified on the higher time frame. Now remember, we had an ascending trend line on the higher time frame which buttresses the strength of the buyers. Now if we sell and price continues to drop into the ascending trend line, as soon as we get price close to the ascending trend line, kindly move your stop losses, secure the current sell position while we wait and see how the market is going to react to that trend line. A breakdown retest of the trend line will definitely welcome selling opportunities, as that will be a sign that the trend line may no longer have the capacity to negate the bearish attempt. However, if price gets into the trend line and we see it transition into a reversal pattern, and we see buy pressure and price transition maybe to a double bottom structure, we shall be buying again above the key level. So this is how we're going to be managing our positions on the USDJPY. How we'll only look out for selling opportunities if price action will break out and take out that zone around the 144.870 and the 144.800 area. And remember, I said we are looking out for confirmations before jumping into the sell position. But in the meantime, price remains above the resistance line of the range we identified here, so we'll hold on to a bullish bias as it is right now. But if it so happens the price drops and break down, then we will look out for selling opportunity. But in the meantime, we maintain a bullish bias. If you have any questions whatsoever as regards to this current setup, feel free to let me know in the comment section.